Correction, was good.
Alex a little bit annoyed now. That's the second time that has happened with that same linesman.
Let's see if they're going to make a change.
Alex Eala is taking charge against the referees who tried to fail her in a crucial qualifying match in the qualifiers of the Australian Open. Corrupt referees and linemen took clear points off of her and then replayed the points to stop Eala from getting to the next round, but they could not stop her. This Filipino tennis sensation wasn't about to let anyone stand in her way, especially not officials who seemed determined to derail her dreams. The Australian Open qualifiers are always intense. Every player is fighting tooth and nail for their chance to compete on one of tennis's biggest stages. For Alex Eala, this wasn't just another match. This was her moment to prove she belonged among the elite. But what should have been a showcase of pure athletic talent quickly turned into something far more sinister. From the very first set, something felt off. The line calls were questionable, the decisions were inconsistent, and it became increasingly clear that Eala was fighting not just her opponent, but the officials themselves. It happened during a critical rally in the first set. Eala hit what was clearly an in ball. Everyone in the stadium could see it. The mark on the clay was visible, the trajectory was perfect, and by all accounts, it should have been her point. But then came the call. Out! The crowd gasped. Eala's opponent looked confused. Even the commentators were stunned. But the linesperson had made their decision, and the chair umpire backed them up. Just like that, a clear point was taken away from her. But here's where it gets even more suspicious. Instead of simply giving the point to her opponent, the officials decided to replay the point entirely. Now, if you know tennis, you know that's not standard procedure for a clear call. Either the ball is in or it's out. You don't just get to replay points because you feel like it. Alex Eala knew exactly what was happening. She walked up to the chair umpire, calm but firm, and made it clear. I know what you're doing. The confidence in her voice, the determination in her eyes. She wasn't going to be intimidated. What happened next is what separates champions from everyone else. Alex Eala took matters into her own hands and went to the referees, telling them she knows what they were doing. The referees could not do anything as they knew she would go nuts on them if they continued with their blatant bias. Throughout this entire ordeal, Eala remained calm through the whole drama in the match. She didn't throw her racket. She didn't scream or cause a scene. She handled it with the poise of a seasoned professional, even though inside she must have been boiling with frustration. But when she saw that referees were crossing limits, Eala just went all in on that and asked the referees to review the call. And you know what? They reversed the decision once and retook the point. Finally, justice was served, or so we thought. You'd think that after being called out so directly, the officials would clean up their act. But no, the referees were just wild against Eala, and they yet again called a strike to be out of bounds. A shot hit by Eala that was clearly inside the line. At this point, it wasn't even about tennis anymore. This was about power, control, and someone trying to dictate the outcome of a match that should have been decided purely by skill and athleticism. Eala once again appealed the decision. She walked over to the mark, pointed at the clear evidence, and demanded that the officials do their job properly. The tension in the stadium was palpable. Everyone watching knew something wasn't right. And that's when Eala knew that they did not want Eala to win. The pattern was too obvious, the bias too blatant. But instead of crumbling under the pressure, instead of letting the corruption break her spirit, Eala did what true champions do. She went all out and won it, showing the referees that they cannot stop her. Point by point, game by game, she dominated the match. Every shot was precise, every serve was powerful, and every moment was a middle finger to everyone who tried to hold her back. When that final ball landed and the match was over, Alex Eala had done more than just win a qualifying round. She had stood up against corruption, refused to be intimidated, and proved that talent and determination will always triumph over bias and unfairness. But here's the thing that makes this story even more troubling. This is not the first time it happened to her. It has been happening for a long time, but Eala always comes out on top. Let's take, for example, the case when referees shattered her confidence when she was winning against Iga Świątek. Now, if you don't know, Iga Świątek is one of the top players in the world, a Grand Slam champion, and an absolute powerhouse on the court. For a young player like Eala to be competitive against someone of that caliber is already an incredible achievement. Eala was playing brilliantly. She was matching Świątek shot for shot, holding her own against one of the best in the game. And then, out of nowhere, the referee tried to take her confidence by confronting her, declaring that she cannot use certain things from her backpack. Think about that for a second. In the middle of a crucial match, during a moment when Eala was building momentum and threatening to upset one of the sport's biggest stars, an official decided to make a scene about her backpack. They said it loud enough to even tell the audience about it, trying to portray her as an offender, attempting to humiliate her in front of thousands of spectators and millions watching at home. It was a clear attempt to rattle her, to throw her off her game, to make her doubt herself at the exact moment when she needed her confidence the most. This kind of psychological warfare has no place in professional sports. But did Eala crumble? Did she let the embarrassment and the unfair treatment break her spirit? Absolutely not. She did not lose her confidence and went on to win the match against Iga. That's right. Despite the officials' best efforts to sabotage her performance, Eala pulled off an incredible victory against a world-class opponent. Now, some of you might be thinking, why would officials target Eala? What's the motivation here? And those are valid questions that deserve serious investigation. There are several possible explanations, and none of them are good. It could be bias based on her nationality, unconscious or otherwise. It could be pressure from outside forces who have financial interests in certain match outcomes. It could be officials who simply don't believe a young rising player deserves to compete at the highest levels. Whatever the reason, the pattern is undeniable. And it's not just about Eala. This kind of corruption affects the integrity of the entire sport. Tennis is supposed to be a meritocracy. The player who performs best on the day should win, period. When officials start influencing outcomes, whether through questionable calls, psychological intimidation, or outright bias, they're stealing from the players and from the fans who love this sport. Eala's story is about more than just bad calls and confrontations with referees. It's about resilience in the face of adversity. It's about standing up for yourself when powerful people try to push you down. It's about refusing to accept injustice, even when speaking up might make you a target. Young athletes around the world are watching Eala and learning valuable lessons. They're learning that success isn't just about talent, it's about mental toughness, about knowing your worth, and about refusing to let anyone take what you've earned. They're also learning that the system isn't always fair, that sometimes the people who are supposed to be neutral arbiters have agendas, and that speaking truth to power is never easy but always necessary. This has to stop. The tennis world needs to take a hard look at how officials are trained, how they're evaluated, and how they're held accountable for their decisions. There needs to be more transparency in the officiating process. With modern technology, there's no excuse for clearly incorrect calls that change the outcome of matches. Hawkeye and similar systems should be available in all professional matches, not just the main draws of Grand Slams. There also needs to be an independent body that can investigate patterns of questionable officiating. If a particular official consistently makes controversial calls against certain players, that should raise red flags and trigger a review. And perhaps most importantly, there needs to be protection for players who speak up. Athletes shouldn't have to fear retaliation for pointing out when officials are doing their jobs poorly or unfairly. Eala's confrontation with corrupt officiating at the Australian Open qualifiers is a story that needed to be told. Her courage in standing up to biased referees, her composure under pressure, and her ultimate triumph despite the obstacles put in her path, these are the qualities that define true champions. From the questionable calls that took clear points away from her to the psychological games played during her match against Iga Świątek, Eala has faced challenges that no athlete should have to face. But every single time, she has risen above the corruption and proved that talent, determination, and integrity will always prevail. The tennis world needs to pay attention. Young players like Eala represent the future of this sport, and they deserve better. They deserve officials who are fair, systems that are transparent, and a playing field that is truly level. Until that happens, we can at least celebrate the warriors like Eala who refuse to be silenced, who refuse to accept injustice, and who keep fighting no matter what obstacles are placed in their path. What do you think about this situation? Have you noticed similar patterns in professional tennis? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you support Eala and believe in fair play in tennis, make sure to like this video and share it with your fellow tennis fans. Remember, when we speak up about corruption and bias in sports, we're not just supporting individual athletes, we're fighting for the integrity of the games we love. Until next time, keep fighting for what's right, both on and off the court. Peace.